What's up, everybody? Today in this video I want to revisit the career and legacy of Russell Westbrook and why I think that he is the most overhated player in NBA history, or at least one of the top overhated players in NBA history, and why I really do think that he's a top player of this generation, and just why I love him and why he's one of my favorite players, and not only one of my favorite players, but I think one of the best players in this whole generation. Ever since Russell Westbrook went to the Los Angeles Lakers, his legacy has just been so skewed. If you look at his career accolades, he's a 9-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ, 3-time assist champ, 9-time All-NBA selection, and the 2016-2017 NBA MVP. That is a Hall of Fame resume, if you ask me, but there's a lot of people who don't even think that he's deserving of even getting a shot at the Hall of Fame. And to me, that is absolutely ridiculous. Throughout the last few years, his three-point percentage and three-point shooting abilities have been called into question, but I think what people really do forget is that that was not his full game. And his full game was being a facilitator, a driver, and a really athletic rebounder. He was a guy who was going to dunk on your face, shoot a mid-range jump shot, and people forget his mid-range jump shot was automatic back in the day. Back a few years ago, before he joined the Los Angeles Lakers, his mid-range was possibly one of the better parts of his game, and he had one of the better mid-range jump shots in the entire league, so it's not like he could only get to their basket and was totally useless elsewhere, right? He was actually a fairly good mid-range shooter. And if you look at his best scoring seasons, like I said before, he was a 2-time scoring champion, and in 1 year averaged 31.6 points per game in his MVP season, and in 1 year averaged 28.1 points per game. He was a really solid scorer in his prime, and during his MVP season, he actually shot 34% from three, which is right around league average. And throughout his career, he's been a 30% three-point shooter, which, while it is a couple points below league average, I believe that league average is about 35%. That's not his game, and the fact that he can shoot a decent clip from there, whereas other guys have career averages around maybe 25%, 30%, if it's not their game, right? When I think of guys who don't necessarily have a great three-point shot, but are really solid players, I think of guys like Jimmy Butler, DeMar DeRozan, these kind of players who don't shoot an incredibly high percentage from three, but actually do shoot an all-right percentage from maybe mid-range or around the basket. This past season, playing for both the Lakers and the Clippers, Russ actually shot 31% from three, which is not a bad clip. And the year before, he shot 29.8%, so basically 30%. He wasn't as bad for the Lakers as people make him out to be. So I really don't want to hear about how, because he wasn't a three-point shooter, he was a terrible player or any of this kind of junk. Another area I want to touch on when it comes to Russell Westbrook's legacy is the fact that people say that he stat pads. And he had a triple-double for 4 straight seasons, and if people stat padded, or if he stat padded the way that everyone thinks he does, there's no way that no one else in history would have averaged 4 triple-double seasons, and only he would have. There's only been one other player in NBA history to average a triple-double in a season, and that's Oscar Robertson, who did it once. Russell Westbrook is by far the leader in triple-doubles, and while Luka Doncic might come and pass that in future years, I don't know if Luka Doncic is ever going to average a triple-double for 4 seasons out of 5, right? And in all honesty, he averaged a triple-double in Washington when everybody called him washed up and broken and whatever, right? So he had one of the better years of his career. He averaged 22 points, 11.7 assists, and 11.5 rebounds, and 44% from the field and 31% from three with Washington. So he wasn't even that bad up until 2020-2021 when he was with Washington. And then the next year, in 2021-22, he goes to the Lakers and everyone calls him like a terrible player, Russell Westbrook and all this kind of stuff. And he, even from his season when he averaged a triple-double in Houston in 2021, to the next season when everyone was calling him washed up, he didn't even regress that much. He just didn't average his normal stats of averaging a triple-double in a season. And it's ridiculous to me that people call Russell Westbrook a terrible player because you've watched, the last 2 seasons when he hasn't even been that bad. And I want to address the stat padding accusations. Russell Westbrook was the best player on his team in the years that he averaged a triple-double. When he, in his 2017-2018 season, when he averaged his second triple-double. That was the year, I believe, that Kevin Durant went over to the Warriors. Actually, no. I do believe that it was 2016-2017 that Kevin Durant joined the Warriors. And 2016-2017 was his first year averaging a triple-double. Russell Westbrook's first year averaging a triple-double. And if you look at this team, if you look at the team that Russell Westbrook had around him, they were awful. Only Russell Westbrook and Steven Adams are guys that I would consider to be starting level players in the NBA. And that's all that Russell Westbrook had to work with. So he had to do literally everything on his team. He was a primary ball handler, and he led them to a 6 seed. And the last thing that I want to actually touch on ties into this very well is that people say that his 2016-2017 MVP award was bogus because he was only a 6 seed. But if you look at that team, like I said before, there was like 2 starting level players on the entire team. They were a G League team outside of Russell Westbrook and Steven Adams. So if you want to look at it like that, then he really carried them from what would have been a 14 or 15 seed team to a 6 seed and to a playoff spot, and a top 6 seed at that. In today's game, where they have to play in, they wouldn't have even made the play-in. They would have made the playoffs for real. So, in all honesty, Russell Westbrook is so overhated because you have to look at the context of his career. Yeah, he won MVP on a 6th place team, but that was the year that Kevin Durant joined the Golden State Warriors. That Western Conference was amazing. Chris Paul and James Harden were either joined up that year or the next year. These were amazing other teams in the Western Conference, and Russell Westbrook willed OKC to the playoffs by himself. That is something to be noted and to be appreciated by NBA fans. Now, I'm not saying that Russell Westbrook is like a top 5 player of this generation or whatever, but I do think he's a top 10 player of this generation, especially when you look at career accolades and just the impact that he had on basketball. He was an amazing player, and he popularized the triple-double, and now you see all these guys going for triple-doubles, and Russell Westbrook was really the first one to start all of that, and he averaged a triple-double 4 seasons. I don't even know how many guys have averaged a triple-double for a full season in the past few years. I haven't really looked at that very much, but I know no one has done it 4 years out of 5, right? And that's what Russell Westbrook did. He did it the 2016-17 season, 2017-18, 2018-19, then didn't in 19-20, and then did again in 2021. So that is an incredible streak for him. And even the year before, in 2015-16, he averaged a double-double where he averaged 23 points, 10 assists, and 7.8 rebounds. So he was almost there again. He almost had it 5 out of 6 seasons, right? So I do believe that Russell Westbrook is one of the most overhated players in NBA history because everyone looks at him now and the ugly highlights and the things that he does wrong, the turnovers, the high turnovers. When he's always been a high turnover player, but he's also always been a high assist player and a high motor player. Is going to hustle on defense, and the things that he does right by far offset the things that he does wrong. So I would love Russell Westbrook on my team, especially prime Russell Westbrook. I do believe that he's a championship player. And I am very sad that Kevin Durant left him because I do think that they had an amazing chance to win a championship. Mind you, when Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook lost to the Warriors in the year before Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, they were up 3-1 in that series, and Kevin Durant was the one that kind of let down Westbrook. And Westbrook actually had an amazing series that series. I don't know the exact stats, but he had a really good series. I remember he almost led them to a series win. And so you can't blame Russell Westbrook for not being a winning player when it's always been either a lack of talent of his teammates around him that's held him back, or his superstar teammates needing the ball and not being as efficient with the ball. I'm not saying that Russell Westbrook doesn't have flaws, but like I said before, I would love to have him on my team 10 times out of 10. Anyways, God bless you all. I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you for watching this video. If you've made it to this point in the video, make sure to like and comment and subscribe to the channel. It'll help me out a lot. God bless you.